From the innovators of Delay of Game and 2 for 2 comes a new sports talk forum, but with the same mentality, to bring you the top sports headlines in a simple way.
With Ryan Swanigan.
Turn the camera around, bend down, get next to a stuffed puppet of a raccoon and take a selfie there.
And the cows come sailing in.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Not so fast, my friend.
And Brent Bonfleur.
I have nothing against women being in sororities.
One and done, girl. That's the title of my autobiography.
Yeah, the head comb. Imagine me in a little kitty suit.
You're listening to The Route, a sports talk podcast.
Oh, welcome into the show. Another illustrious day in sports going on right now in the NFL. But we're going to talk about what happened over the weekend and some other fun topics here. Welcome in, Ryan, Brent.
Hey.
On this final November, final Sunday in November, the 29th.
Yeah.
So
it's almost Christmas, Ryan.
I know, we're closing in on the debut of Delay of Game.
Closing in on Christmas. All right, I won't sing. Let's not taint the show.
Well, you have already done that before. Speaking of Delay of Game, you've already done that before.
What did I... I'm amazed you don't have that saved as a soundbite. Oh, okay.
We got that.
Maybe you did. Yeah.
No, we've got it somewhere.
Yeah.
I've got it, you know.
Yeah.
It's in one of your illustrious bumps.
Illustrious.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Anyways.
I like that music that we started the show with.
Oh, yeah?
That, like, gangsta rap.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
like hardcore.
I see there's a lot of music that I get for our intros and whatnot from commercials.
Oh.
Like, see all these, I hear or see these commercials and hear all these cool tunes with the commercials. Like,
Right.
Hey, props to those people for finding it.
I know, dude, that's how that, like movie trailers and stuff, they always got great music behind them. It's like, I don't know what the song is because it's always like instrumental.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like,
But it's awesome.
hey, when you find it, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, totally
I
epic
like
and
this
awesome.
song.
It's amazing.
So,
Something else that's amazing as well is actually this rant, because it's not about anything bad, actually. It's, interestingly enough, it's an ode to Brent Bonfleur.
Yes, it's time for the original Ryan's rant, but Ryan goes off on something that's more fake than fake or completely improbable. This used to air on his old show, but now he's gone from that show, so he's here on the route. And so, Ryan's rant can continue to harvest life's absurd issues that have simple solutions if logic is applied. In short, we just call this segment Ryan's Rant.
Oh, yeah. I'm fired up. But I'm fired up to talk about Brent Bonfleur, believe it or not.
I don't know what life issue of mine you're going to harvest.
The look on your face was just priceless when I said that.
Well, because I have no idea what you're going to talk about here.
Well,
you sent me the format for the show, and it said under Ryan's rant, it said special.
Yeah,
that's
the special.
Okay.
Because on mine, it says an ode to Brent Bonfleur, but I changed it just to fake you out.
Well, an ode is typically a good thing.
It is.
Okay, good. All right.
That's where we're going with
I'll
that.
breathe a little easier.
And would it make you feel better if I did this? We haven't played this in a long time.
The Russian national anthem?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, hey, they're crazy over there in Russia, but they got one thing down. Well, I mean, two things. Vodka and then the national anthem.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
I think maybe third, like hockey.
No, that's the Canadians.
Well, yeah, not as good as the
Russians
Canadians.
are good, but
we're talking
Canadians.
like third place. Well, Canadians like hockey, then syrup, and then,
Of course. But anyways, back to my ode to Mr. Brent Bonfleur. Oh, this is good. I love this part. All right, let's get serious here.
There's a tear in my eye starting to form.
Well, there'll be tears in your eyes when I'm done with this.
Okay.
So, anyways, getting serious here. About 4 years ago, it was the end of the 2012 football season for Nebraska. I was finishing my second year on Husker Countdown, and it was the completion of Brent's first year on Husker Countdown. And he was brought in to fill a position, one of the three positions that would be opening up for the 2013 season. We at Husker Countdown we were losing Will Grubb, Jake Sorensen, and Michael Scholes, three fantastic broadcasters at the time. Two of them still nowadays. Michael Scholes is now practicing law, but still, he was a phenomenal guy, phenomenal broadcaster. And Brent Bonfleur was brought in by the KRNU general manager, Rick Alloway, as one of the people that was going to be filling in the one of the holes that was going to be created via vacancy from Jake Sorensen, Will Grubb, Michael Scholes. And it was there. I don't know. It just seemed. I started talking with Brent the first game that he was with us, and immediately there was just some kind of like some sort of bond right there. There was something that started as we were walking to Memorial Stadium in September to a game, one of the first games of the season, and from there on, our friendship just continued to grow and to grow and to grow. And I can remember, and I know Brent tells the story and I tell this story, we were walking back from a game one day, and I just randomly thought of how Brent's name sounded, Brent Bonfleur, sounded so similar to a Major League Baseball pitcher by the name of Grant Balfour. So I accidentally, I think, at one point mixed it up and said Brent Balfour instead of Bonfleur. And then from then on, the inside joke with me and Brent was, "Oh, hey, what's up, Grant Balfour?" And I would call him that from time to time as the season went on and the years went on. But ever since that second season, for me on the KRNU sports staff, Brent's first, we have been very good friends ever since. And just on Friday, this past Friday, Brent finished his final game on KRNU as a member of Husker Countdown. He was in charge of that this year, the host of the pregame and postgame shows. And I texted him this, and I told Brent that day on Friday how proud I am of him for everything that he has done to make sure that KRNU sports, and specifically Husker Countdown, sounds as great as it can possibly be. Putting things together, helping me organize personnel, and not even just really with Husker Countdown, but more importantly, with other broadcasts in general, stepping up and filling in when we needed engineers to broadcast our games from baseball, softball, basketball. Brent has filled in on other pregame shows for Husker men's and women's basketball, and he just knows his stuff, and he has worked hard to make sure that he knows his stuff so that way there is a professional sound on the airwaves when we go on, that we know what we're talking about, that we can back up what we're speaking about. And I'm very, very grateful to call Brent my friend and to have been able to work with him in doing sports, in covering these games, in going to Northwestern, that trip that we went on last season when Nebraska went to Northwestern in Evanston and won like 38-17 or something like that. Just those things and those memories I will always share with Brent for so long. The many times we were up in the press box at Memorial Stadium, the games that we saw, the opinions that we had and shared with the listeners on KRNU before and after football games. And I don't even know if we ever called a game together. No. That's the one thing.
No, we never did.
Well, and you know what? I think, honestly, I'm okay with that. Because because we did so many other things outside of that.
Right.
And
I've hosted the pre and post game shows for games that you've called, and you've done likewise for me.
Yeah, you did the pregame and postgame for Northwestern.
And then you did it for North Dakota State when they came and played the Huskers in football.
That's right.
For
me
and Michael Snow.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
we've never been on together.
Yeah, no, we've never called a game together, but I'm okay with that because, like I said, we've done so many other things together, and not even just dealing with sports announcing and games, also sports talk. Brent was one of the first people that we brought in the second year that we had delay of game on KRNU. We brought in Brent Bonfleur because I asked him. I thought he would be good for the show. And it turned out he was, and he eventually ended up starting his own show with a guy by the name of Chris Ames. And they eventually became, honestly, a lot of, I guess, if you will, the success that Delay of Game has had, and even maybe this podcast that Brent and I built up together, but more so Delay of Game, has been because of Brent Bonfleur. When 2 for 2 was created by Brent and Chris, and I said, Brent, you should go concentrate on your show. And so he did. That essentially was the beginning of Brent, not intentionally, but in a way challenging me to make sure that my show was up to the standards, because when 2 for 2 came around, the bar immediately was set way, way up there. It was higher than I had thought. And it was kind of the light bulb going off in my head, in that, it's, hey, you got to start getting creative. This is, this old stuff from year one that you hosted Delay of Game with John Kipper, that's over now. You guys really got to start going toe-to-toe with 2 for 2 now, because you guys were on KRNU 2 at the same time as Delay of Game,
right?
In certain years. And
for a semester,
I think, yeah. But anyways, you forced me to be more creative with sports talk. And ever since, I feel like there is almost nothing that I can't do to try and make a sports talk show or sports talk podcast like this one better, because it's all about keeping things new and fresh. That's exactly what you guys did. That's exactly what I started to think about and put into my show. And I thought it was just great competition to see who could be the better sports talk show as time went on. And that is in large part because of you and the work that you put into 2 for 2. It was unfortunate to see it come to an end the way it did, but I was very glad when you came back to Delay of Game, because at that point I knew it wasn't about, well, now we can steal the ideas of 2 for 2 back on our show.
Right.
It's now we've got the creative mind who forced me to become creative in how I ran my sports talk show. Now he is back, and both of us can work on making the show even better than it was. And that's why Delay of Game was so successful, not because of me, not because of John Kipper or the people I worked with, Amsley, Devin, Michael, Cody Broder, etc. It was also because of Brent Bonfleur forcing creativity, forcing new angles and new looks and new things to talk about on your show. Have different guests. Get guests in general. It was absolutely great to see, two friends pushing each other and being more creative with their shows. And like I said, a lot of the success that I have had in sports talk is in large part due to you, Brent, because you have just helped me be more creative and understand that it's all about keeping things fresh, not too pizzazzy, I guess, but, something that will get people's attention. Now, I didn't run video promos and a mini movie,
yeah, right.
But still.
Well, hey, some stuff sticks and some stuff doesn't. But.
Some of us are not that creative. Obviously, that would be me.
Yeah,
so
that was mostly Chris. That was due to his talent, his creativity,
right,
not mine.
But to wrap up this rant, this ode to Brent Bonfleur,
you gotta play the anthem.
I'm sorry. I will get back to that. To wrap up this ode to Brent Bonfleur, I am very, very thankful to be friends with this guy, to continue to work with him post-graduation right now in this Sports Talk podcast. And I am really looking forward to and really stoked for the return of Delay of Game. About a month from now, January 2016, it will be back. And I'm fired up. We're gonna discuss about bringing in a third person to join our show, who I know is very good when it comes to this stuff. And I know Brent is Brent's just going to bring everything that he brings. So I'm really looking forward to what 2016 holds for Delay of Game's return. This has been fun, though. The route we had to build up ourselves. I haven't done that before. You did. Mm-hmm. I haven't built up a show or anything like that from the ground up. So to say that I think this podcast was pretty successful as far as what we put out there and things like that. We had
a couple hits on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Some of some decent watches and views and listens. And
in large part, a big congratulations to Brent Bonfleur, who's got a semester and a couple weeks left of his college career. But Husker Countdown has come to an end. And Brent, you have done a remarkable job there. You've done a remarkable job announcing the games. And you've done a remarkable job with Sports Talk. And it's a pleasure to be your friend and to continue to work with you, buddy. And it's great.
Thank you. Likewise. In every sense, yeah, I mean, gosh, you're probably, no, not you. Okay, you were the second friend I made in college. The first I met at new student enrollment, so you didn't really have a fair shot.
Right.
We weren't in the same class. But you were, other than that guy, Josh Johnson, who I think you know probably. We see him at Husker games all the time. You were the first friend I made in college. So yeah, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
You had more hair back then.
I still have. Well, it depends. If I just get a haircut, I have almost nothing. If it's growing out like it is now, then I've got some.
Yeah. And I think in 4 years, I've seen you not wear a suit or dress clothes like 10 times.
It's about a 50-50 ratio.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 ratio. You see me wear them more often than not, but the ratio really is like 50-50.
It's fun. Now that you've got a professional job, you wear it less. Which is just remarkable to me.
Which kind of stinks, to be honest.
Yeah.
It kind of stinks.
Yeah.
I really, really like wearing a suit and tie.
I know.
But then I'm like outdoing everybody else at where I work.
Well, you were outdoing everybody else here.
Well, I could get away with it over here.
Yeah.
But,
you were calling game just about every night, too.
At my part-time job, I have to wear a tie.
Right.
So that's, it kind of makes up for it, but I'm still not wearing a suit jacket.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But that's probably a good thing because I'm doing a lot of physical labor. So.
Oh, at that job.
Yeah, at the part-time job.
Yeah.
At the full-time job, I'm sitting at a desk.
Picking up people off the floor who are crying or.
It could turn that way, but I hope not. But anyways.
Yeah. I appreciate the ode. I mean, you could say you owe certain things to me, but you're the one who I probably would have never started my own show if I hadn't been on Delay of Game first.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of the Cleveland Browns, they play in the AFC.
That was from one of the first shows that you were on with us.
I think it was the first show
of Delay of Game. No, it was with I was with Kipper.
Yeah. Well, the first show we ever did that I was on was our NFL preview.
Oh, that's right.
So it was been that show.
It was one of the first couple of shows in. I know that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
good times.
Oh, absolutely. Great stuff as always.
You're listening to The Route, a sports talk podcast. On Facebook.com/The Route 2 and on Twitter at @the_Route2. It's time now for Out of Play, the part of the route where Ryan Swanigan and Brent Barnfloor discuss one major controversial sports story from the week.
All right, so we're actually doing, well, I guess it's not really too out of place. It's, again, not sticking to a structured show here. We kind of, have topics that can fit under these categories. But this first out of play, I guess, actually maybe the only one, discussing Syracuse men's basketball. Two interesting notes coming from that this week is one, the NCAA is lessening the punishment against Syracuse and its scholarships. The Infractions Appeals Committee from ESPN, this is from ESPN, ruled that the total reduction of scholarships will be 8 over the next 4 years rather than 12. Now, I'm not... Now they are upholding the decision to vacate all of their wins from 2004 through 2012. They're upholding that.
Okay.
But I don't know. This whole Syracuse thing, what the crime is understandable. That makes sense. It's once again the NCAA's response to this, and then its secondary response to this. That's what it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And Jim Boeheim, by the way, still coaching right now, is appealing his 9-game suspension from the ACC. That appeal is still pending. It has yet to be decided if he's going to serve it, if it's going to be reduced. By the time that they come to a decision, basketball season could be over with. Think about that. They keep trying to figure all this out. I mean, Jim Boeheim, he's retiring at the end of the season. He might be able to just get away with coaching the whole season out, and then boom.
We'll see ya. Go ahead and suspend
serve what
me.
Suspension? I'm done. I'm out of here. So that's another interesting part about this whole scenario. And but again, it's just really, really weird with this scholarship stuff. Like you take them away, and now Syracuse really has to be nitpicky and whatnot. They're still going to get great players.
Yeah,
it's Syracuse basketball.
8 over 4 years, so that's 2 a year.
Instead of 12. No, it's 1 per year.
It's only 1 per year.
It's 1 a year.
How does that work?
4 years.
8 over 4 years. That would be 2
No. 8. They will lose 8 scholarships over 4 years rather than 12. Oh, maybe I don't know. I'm mixing up what I'm reading. Yeah. Somebody obviously can't figure this out.
8 divided by 4 is 2.
Right. So anyways.
Yeah.
But it's, man, what's the difference?
I don't know. I mean, that seems like a pretty... I know this isn't, in football, that'd be like hardly anything.
Right.
Any loss of a scholarship hurts. But, in basketball, I get it's a bigger deal. But still, I mean, that's basically 2 guys a year. which, that sets you back quite a bit over the course of 4 years. Obviously, 8 players that you don't have to build around, to build with. But, it's, like you said, it's still Syracuse. They're going to be fine.
And again, with this, my point is, what made you see that the original, the original decision was too harsh than the second decision that was just made?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the difference? You saw something different now that you didn't see then?
Right.
Or you think you decided, you changed your mind that, that first one was too harsh, and now so we need to lighten it up a little bit? That's what I don't understand when it comes to reducing suspensions, except in the NFL, because Roger Goodell can't figure that out. He's a businessman. He's not a judge. Outside of the NFL, it just appeals. I mean, wouldn't you have somebody arguing their case and take that into account the first time? Make one decision. Make the decision one time, not two.
Mm-hmm.
You have the initial decision to take away 12 scholarships over the next 4 years. That was back earlier in the spring, I believe. And now you make a second decision to, we're going to reduce that. Why? Again, what did you see? What do you see now that you didn't see back then? Or what do you hear? What are you hearing now from Syracuse's appeal that you didn't hear back in April?
Right.
I mean,
it's the NCAA. It doesn't have to make sense. They botch these things so badly sometimes. Now, I do think that with most punishments, they're set a little higher just in case, so when they do get appealed, which, almost everything does, if the appeal is successful, they still, I think they have something actually in mind and they set it a little bit higher. So when it gets appealed, it gets, they're still punishing them as much as they want. But, the NCAA is just, think about Miami football, their huge investigation into Miami that took how many years, and just basically destroyed Miami's football program.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then they not only did it take forever, but it took so long and it was so poorly carried out that they had to investigate their own investigation to make sure it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same entity that, it's just like they're power crazed that wouldn't let Leonard Fournette donate his jersey to auction his jersey when LSU played South Carolina right after South Carolina got smacked by that big storm, and then donate the proceeds to help with the recovery effort. They had to make a special exception to allow that. The NCAA did. It's the same organization that advertises daily fantasy sports leagues, like DraftKings and FanDuel, people call gambling, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. But basically, they advertise that during their games, but then they put out a rule saying that NCAA players cannot participate in online daily fantasy sports.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nothing they do makes sense. They're completely, I think, just out of bounds with what they do most of the time. I mean, obviously, you got to have someone to carry out the rules, but it's just the NCAA was not created to be this.
Yeah,
and it's just gotten completely out of control.
Yeah.
So I know that's a little bit off topic of what we're actually talking about, but
it's still all ties in.
My core point is that the NCAA, their only consistency is inconsistency,
right?
And it just makes for a mess. Yeah.
It really doesn't even make sense for that. For that point there. I don't understand what is so different this time around than 6 months ago. Maybe even, if that, 6-7 months ago, it just does not make any sense what whatsoever.
Yep.
You're listening to The Route, a sports talk podcast. Available online at theroute.wordpress.com and on YouTube.
All right, so now we go into under review, and we will start with the honorable mentions, which are the games themselves, actually. Baylor TCU, Notre Dame versus Stanford, and Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. Other games that were supposedly going to be great matchups turned into be blowouts, or they just turned out to be embarrassments that proved Ryan right when it comes to the Florida Gators.
Oh,
yeah.
Please.
No, Brent.
Oh, please.
No. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You better double check that, my friend.
I will admit, their offense is embarrassing. It is a travesty.
You got 2 points, Brent.
Yeah.
Off of a weekend in which you had to go to overtime to beat Florida Atlantic 20 to 14. 20 to 14.
Well, at least they scored 20 in that game. It's amazing.
Against Florida Atlantic. You want to know how many points Nebraska put up against Florida Atlantic last year?
How many?
55.
All right. They also didn't have a backup quarterback in that game. I bet you if Will Grier... I mean, they were doing fantastic with Will Grier. He was having the best season of any Florida quarterback since Tim Tebow. He's putting up Tim Tebow-like numbers when he was playing. So when you lose that... Yeah, obviously you're not going to perform nearly
Florida
as well.
Atlantic, Brent.
It doesn't matter who you're
You know
playing.
what Florida Atlantic is like?
Rutgers.
That's what they're like. They're like Rutgers.
How many points did Nebraska put up against Rutgers?
I can't. I can't. What 31? Is it 31? 31,
like 31
14?
or 36 or something.
That's more than Florida put up against Florida Atlantic.
Granted, yeah, but they didn't blow them out.
It felt like a blowout.
So if Florida had won 36 to 14, it would have been okay.
It would have been so much better.
Well, I agree. It would have been better.
And not in overtime.
Yeah.
And not in overtime. Well, and then they turn around and get a safety against Florida State.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I know. The offense is pathetic. It's
and
sad.
now you're still going to the SEC title game to take on Alabama.
And they deserve it.
And you're going to get shellacked right there. Just totally destroyed.
I don't know. They got to find a different answer at quarterback. If Will Grier was in there, I think they would have won that Florida State game probably by a touchdown, if not more, with him in there. It's amazing the difference that one player could. It's like, when Peyton Manning was out for the Colts and they went from being, Super Bowl winners down to
nothing.
They had, 1 or 2 wins that season?
It was terrible.
When he was out.
They had 2,
It's amazing the difference that one player can make, and I did not expect it to be that bad against Florida State last night.
But Will Grier did
surprised.
not play against LSU.
Exactly. And they only lost by
a touchdown.
A trick play touchdown.
Yes.
Some Les Miles magic.
What in the world is the difference?
I don't know why he's been so much worse lately. He's gotten worse, which I didn't think was possible because he wasn't good to start with, but he's getting worse and worse each week.
You gotta be kidding me!
They need to, because Will Grier's appeal got overturned by the psychopathic NCAA. So,
speaking of which,
so they're not going to have him back for the first 7 games of next year. They need a transfer quarterback. They got to get someone else in until he's back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, at this rate,
junior college guy, something.
Anyone is better than Treon Harris. I like Treon Harris, but dude, you got to be able to perform. He stinks, and their receivers are good. They have young, explosive wide receivers. Callaway, for one, is really good. Robinson and their running back, Kelvin Taylor, had over 115 yards in that game. And the defense, come on, when you're going 3-and-out every time and you're going against an offense that has a potential Heisman winner in Dalvin Cook, it's certainly a candidate, one of the top 3 running backs in the country, and you hold them to 20 points when you're on the field for who knows how long.
You kidding me?
Because your offense can't do anything. They're a fantastic. If you put, JT Barrett on that team, they'd be undefeated easily. Easily.
Yeah.
It's one missing piece that brings them. Because the defense is fantastic. If you watch that game, Florida State had like 50 yards at halftime, but you can't hold forever. If any defense is going to break when you're on the field for 40 minutes. It's just and no one knows how bad their offense is better than me. Trust me, I watch the games. It's horrific.
Yeah.
It gives me
like last night.
Yeah, I lose hair, I get headaches.
Not very much fun, is it?
No, it's not very much fun at all.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Good job, Brent.
It was a coin toss whether or not they won. I knew they'd have to get some help from their defense. I did not expect the offense to be that bad.
2 points.
Yeah.
And
well, they came from the defense.
Not even from the offense. 2 points.
No.
Oh man, oh my gosh, Florida's head coach. Why am I just
Jim McElwain?
Jim McElwain. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
Coach of the year though.
Will Muschamp.
Who else is gonna be a coach of the year?
You could easily find a few other coaches that did a lot better job than
who?
Jim McElwain towards the end of the season, not so much. And again, it's about what have you done for me lately?
Their second loss, and both their losses have been to ranked teams. One was like number 2 at the time.
Lately, Brent, and Florida has not done a lot lately.
No, coach of the year, not coach of the what have you done for me lately? Not coach of the last 3 games.
No, there's somebody that's better.
They still only have 2 losses.
I think. Well, yeah, I can't say that about Jim Harbaugh.
Turned them around from like second or third to last in the division and won their division. And do I think they're going to beat Alabama? Heck no.
It'll be Dabo Swinney. That's why it's going to be Dabo Swinney.
But he already had, he had a way better situation. Clemson was not down and out like Florida was.
But Clemson was not expected to be this great.
No, they've exceeded expectations for sure.
So
but
then
when you look at coach of the year,
there you go, Dabo Swinney.
Now you look at who did the most
I'm
with
going
the
Dabo
least.
Swinney.
All right,
we'll Dabo
see.
Swinney.
You want to make it interesting?
What you want to place a bet or something?
Yeah, let's do it. You think
Dabo Swinney?
Yeah.
All right. You think Jim McElwain?
I think Jim McElwain. You think Dabo Swinney?
Yes.
Okay. So if neither of these guys wins, then it's just mute. But moot, not mute.
It could be a Jim Harbaugh, which I don't think it should be now.
I don't think so either.
But he's done a great job. But no, it should be Dabo Swinney. I really think Dabo Swinney.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. What are we doing?
Do?
What are we figuring out?
Yeah.
Well, let's think on it, and we'll readdress this at the end of the show.
Okay.
How about that? Because we still got to get to these coaching firings anyway.
How about 10 wings at Buffalo Wild Wings?
Ooh, that's tasty.
10 wings.
That's really tasty.
And a drink. The
other
one buys the meal.
Yeah, all right. I'll do that.
If it's Dabo Swinney, I buy for you. If it's Jim McElwain, you buy for me.
And if it's neither one, then we're paying for ourselves and going anyway.
Then you still pay for me.
Oh, I'm not paying for you.
Yeah, it's got to be Jim McElwain and the field versus Dabo Swinney.
No, it is not.
All right, just Jim McElwain.
Jim McElwain versus Dabo Swinney. You're just trying to log another free meal out of me.
Hey.
That's what you're trying to do.
Players got to eat.
Taking advantage of my ode to you. Trying to take advantage of that.
Hey, come on. If I'm so great, why don't you give me some free food?
No, I already did, actually, a couple of times. So, anyways. All right, to the coaching firings. And there are a good chunk of them going on across college football. And I certainly hope that there's not any more breaking news that involves coaches. I'm going to take a look here or something. Will be hold on. Now we might have breaking news right now, perhaps. I better go find the breaking news music here for this, because I mean this could be big. I don't know. Let me take a look at that while I find and see if there's anything else going on. Obviously, the big 2 things of the day are, number 1, Mark Richt departing from Georgia. The Bulldogs decided they are firing him, and he is the hottest coach to try and find or to try and hire in college football right now. Obviously, after Justin Fuente was hired to replace Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech. So now, Mark Richt is out there, available. There's openings, especially SEC openings. Missouri is one of them. There's a Virginia opening, but I don't think Mark Richt would take the Virginia job. It's just not really exactly a good idea. Illinois, I think, is going to stick with Bill Cubit. I don't know if that has been confirmed or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm taking a look here at SB Nation has an entire list of what's going on. Yes, Illinois has hired Bill Cubit on a 2-year deal. So Bill Cubit will take the full-time job there at the University of Illinois. The other big story is, of course, out of Rutgers. And Kyle Flood is gone. And the athletic director, Julie Herman, is gone. After Robert Barchi fired the previous athletic director and former head basketball coach Mike Rice over all that crap that took place in 2013. 2013. So it's 2.5 years. And so now Rutgers once again has lost a head coach, this time of the football program, and lost an athletic director. And so now, once again, President Robert Barchi is standing by himself atop of Rutgers, having to make another hire. And no, I don't. Yeah,
oh boy, here we go.
This is probably for the future, but ever since the Big Ten announced that they were bringing in Maryland and Rutgers to their conference, it was a joke. It was a complete joke. Why are you bringing in Rutgers? Of all teams, Rutgers. Seriously? You've got a whole bunch of other teams. You've got Iowa State in your own backyard. You could have pulled them. You could have pulled Toledo. You could have pulled any team from the state of Ohio that's not Ohio State. You could have done anything at all. You went after Rutgers. And then, what has happened since Rutgers joined the Big Ten? Shame and disgrace. Robert Barchi can't figure it out, yet he still has a job. I don't get it. They've gone through 2 athletic directors since joining the Big Ten. Rutgers has a basketball coach, now a football coach. It just doesn't make any sense. And quite honestly, it's almost disgusting. But, I do digress. Rutgers. It's just still, for the last 4 or 5 years now, Rutgers just getting after me in whatever way is possible. So the Memphis job is open. The Miami job is open. Missouri, Minnesota is closed because Tracy Claeys is the head coach there now. That is permanent. Of course, as I said, Rutgers is open. South Carolina is open. Syracuse, Toledo, and Tulane. Surprisingly, Tulane is open. UCF, University of Louisiana Monroe. Of course, we cannot forget about USC. That is a school that is open. Iowa State, speaking of which, that is available. And, of course, Georgia is available as well, including Maryland, another team that's in the Big Ten, and Virginia as well. So quite a few good coaches out there. Former Rutgers head coach who's now at ESPN. Why can I not remember his name? He's very important. He was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That ship sunk pretty fast. I cannot think of it. I know he's really good. I know
Tampa
that.
Bay Buccaneers.
Well, not with the Buccaneers. With Rutgers, he was.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm gonna find it here in a second. Hold on. Hold on. Here, Greg Schiano. There we go.
Greg Schiano.
Greg Schiano, who was at Rutgers for 10 seasons, actually, interestingly enough. 67 and 66, Greg Schiano was at Rutgers. But, why not bring him back? This is probably the best option you got. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, once again, Rutgers has made its way into this show, and I just... I want it to go away, but I'm not certain. Anyways, looking at this breaking news here. Yeah, we got it. There will be multiple teams with losing records playing in bowl games next month.
Oh, boy.
According to ESPN's Brett McMurphy, at least 2 bowls will need teams with 5-7 records, and there could be as many as 5 teams earning bowl berths. So, the question is one of those teams
Nebraska?
That one team that we all know and love?
Oh, goodness.
From the state that we're in right now. It should not happen!
You don't want Nebraska to make a bowl?
The soft stuff in the original rant, it couldn't outdo the frustration and anger that would eventually come out in this show. I guess we're transitioning away from the coaching firings. We'll get back to that in a second. But you cannot tell me that Nebraska deserves to be in a bowl game after this season.
No, they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
But you still want to see them play one.
No, I don't want to see them play. No. What will that teach them? What will that teach Nebraska? What good will it do for those players?
It gets them some extra practice. It gets them one more game with their coach.
For what? They had plenty of practice during the season, and they couldn't figure it out then.
Well,
why
but that's
would this
why
bowl
you get
game
more
opportunity help them?
That's why you just get a little bit more. I'm not saying it's a huge help. I mean, it's all it's what, 3 weeks of practice or something.
It's a chance for Nebraska to go 5-8.
Yeah, who cares? What's the difference
for Tommy Armstrong to go out there and throw 3 more interceptions?
Well, who cares? The season's over.
The future. This future
It can only
cares.
help the future unless someone gets injured.
I don't think it will help the future. See, that's another possibility.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's like, they need the bowl game. And
it shouldn't happen. Nebraska should not be going to a bowl game, period.
Certainly.
This team needs to, more so, not the coaches, the players. The players need to sit and think about how this season went and how they are going to step up and actually adjust to Mike Riley and his coach's schemes in order for this program to be successful. Because there are some people that are right, and I think Ainsley Sinkbaum might be one of them. These players are still stuck in a Bo Pelini phase.
Oh, yeah.
And that is unacceptable.
There are no Mike Riley guys.
You can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to move on. We do it every single time in the show except for Rutgers. Because Rutgers keeps making their way into things because they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Nebraska cannot afford to go to a bowl game, in my opinion. I think it's a bad thing for the Huskers. I think they need to think about what they need to do to fix themselves going forward. Not have another opportunity to play another game and see if they can make changes. You had 12 games in the regular season to try and adjust and make changes.
Yeah.
You didn't do it.
Yeah.
Why is one extra game in a situation where you're going to finish with a losing record? Nebraska is going to finish with a losing record regardless.
Yeah.
Season's done.
Yeah.
With the bowl game included, you're not gaining anything. Extra practice, they had time for that. Extra playing time, they had time for that. Changes,
the extra practice is not for this.
For all
it's not for this season. It's for next season.
Still, They had time for that this whole season.
But that was for this season. Now that the season is over, this would be for next season.
Now it's start to review and learn, not go play another game and review that and learn.
This is like someone saying, hey, all right, you finished the season, here's $10, or we could give you $11 at this bowl game, right? Which one you get? Well, the season's already over, so I'll just take the $10 instead of 11. It's not a big increase, but it's still a little bit of a benefit. It doesn't matter. You're right. The season is over. So because it's over, it doesn't matter if you win the bowl game. It's just more experience. That's not a huge help, but it is of some help. No one's saying this is going to change their season around, but it's going to be at least of some benefit.
I don't think. I disagree.
The only way playing in a bowl game possibly hurts Nebraska is literally if someone gets hurt.
Nebraska, by the way, is one of these teams that could potentially make.
I hope they do. I hope
as
they
a 5-7 team. By the way,
yeah, no. Do they deserve it? No, but do I hope they make it? Sure, because it will help them get better for next year.
We'll see what happens.
Unless they're horrible. Are not going to carry over until next season anyway. So really, there's a very, very tiny risk for a marginal. What is the word I'm looking for? Marginal.
Yeah,
marginable.
Yeah, that was me last night. I was at a social gathering and
a social gathering.
Yeah, and one of the words I think was habits and mannerisms.
Mannerisms?
Yeah, or mannerisms. See, that was my point. I kept on saying mannerisms.
Is that like a man having an aneurysm?
It might be
mannerism?
a mannerism. But seriously, that's what I was saying all last night was mannerisms when I was trying to say mannerisms.
Yeah, boy.
See, and I still can't even say it right now.
Who are you with? Because that would be embarrassing.
No, I was with a whole bunch of high school friends.
Oh, okay.
Up in Omaha, or up in Ralston, part of Omaha.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it was okay.
Yeah.
You didn't embarrass. These weren't like strangers that you were.
Oh, no.
Like,
but I still embarrass myself anyway.
Well, yeah.
That's just what I naturally do with those people
you walk
somehow,
out the front
some
door.
way.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, down here, not so much. Up there, yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on where I am.
Yeah.
If I'm here, I'm okay. If I'm up there, I'll drive into La Vista or Ralston or something. And I'll embarrass myself somehow, some way.
You do put your foot in your mouth a lot.
Yeah, mannerisms. Take that to the bank.
Yeah.
So
anyway, very, very, very tiny 1% risk for, let's say, 10%.
I just think it's pointless. I really think it's pointless.
Not pointless, just not much of a point.
It's not. Yeah.
I'm right, you're wrong. Let's move on.
No, you're not. Hang your heads in shame. Maybe this is what's really going on with Brent Bonfluer.
Yeah, right.
Hang your head in shame and figure out how you're going to change and help the program get better for next season. That's what should be going on for Nebraska. Quickly, obviously, Mark Richt has a fair amount of colleges that he can choose to go to. I think Missouri is a great fit. Maybe Miami, maybe Memphis might be actually a good fit for him, maybe to take a step back and start something there, and then build up. But I mean, the question is, who in the world's going to take over at USC?
Chip Kelly.
Oh, no, I hear he could be going to the Titans.
Really?
Yeah.
Another NFL team's going to take a shot on him?
But USC, according to SB Nation and NFL.com, USC has reached out to Chip Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I think that's probably
today.
Best fit for him. I think he completely bombed with the Eagles. I mean, this season is bad.
He was great last year, and then he made it worse.
Yeah, I mean, they were decent last year. They were pretty good, and you thought, okay, well, what are they, 10-6, and somehow missed the playoffs. Typically, when you hit 10 wins, you make the playoffs, especially in the NFC. Yeah. And the AFC, it's a little bit tougher. But, you think, okay, so, you build on that to 11 or 12. You make the playoffs, great, you're on track. Then you deconstructs the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's his personnel moves.
Yeah.
His system.
That wasn't good.
It worked better with the players that he didn't think fit his system than it did with the players he does think fits the system. So,
by the way, I say Tennessee, and other people are saying Tennessee because of...
Man, I would not if I were Tennessee.
Who's there?
Marcus Mariota.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Chip Kelly offense with Chip Kelly players.
See, and it could be a thing where he's just missing the right quarterback because he has not had a good quarterback.
No.
Nick Foles is not a good quarterback.
I think Mark Sanchez maybe still has some, but it's starting to go down.
Yeah,
it's starting to go down for him.
I mean, that's
kind of unfortunate
for life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
but anyways, a lot of openings, and it'll be interesting to see who gets hired where, especially Mark Richt, as I said, if Greg Schiano is going to be in on taking the Rutgers job or not, if Robert Barczy's going to get fired at Rutgers. Probably not, but whatever. Anyways, we move on to some wonderful things. That's, I guess, in the world of Brent Bonfuller here.
This is what's really going on with Brent Bonfuller.
So we talked about Buffalo Wild Wings earlier, and that's because we just ate there, Friday night?
Friday, after the game, yeah.
After the Husker game. And we were watching the Golden State game. And,
we were?
Yeah.
We were watching basketball. I don't think it was Golden State.
Yeah, it was.
Baylor TCU was on.
Well, yeah, we were mostly watching football.
We were watching Illinois take on somebody.
Well, there's a Golden State game on.
Was it on?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like 99.
I don't...
Yes, there was.
No,
they
were previewing it. It was coming up. It wasn't on yet, but they were previewing it. And that's how this discussion started.
Whatever.
Yeah. It wasn't on. It was being previewed.
But continue. We got on the top of how good they are and how just a few years ago they were pretty bad. Golden State has not been good they had not been good for a long time until just the past 2 seasons, let's say.
Mark Jackson's second year.
Right, yeah, once they started to get things going. And then we came to the topic of the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 0-17, the complete opposite of Golden State this season. And I said that Philadelphia in about 3 or 4 years is going to be very, very good. And you vehemently disagreed.
Absolutely not.
And your argument was, my argument is that they have such good young talent in Michael Carter-Williams and Jahlil Okafor you only need, we've seen it, typically you need 3 players, right? 3 of your 5 starters have to be superstar level to win the NBA championship, right? You can compete with 1 or 2, but to win the NBA championship, you have to have 3 superstars. Those guys will be 2 of them. And you said no.
I said
you have to have
veteran
players.
A good head coach, a guy who is proven.
I agree with you on that.
And you have to have veteran leadership. You cannot have young kids running around on the court trying to do their own thing, not listening to their head coach and saying, we're going to do this our way and we think this is how it goes. Meanwhile, you're getting shellacked out on the court by opposing teams who basically are resting their starters midway through the third quarter because they're up by 30 on you because you, again, fail to play NBA basketball. This isn't college basketball anymore. This is the NBA.
Right.
It's totally different. Just like the NFL and Johnny Manziel, but I digress.
So our disagreement here is about the veteran players. Because, you got to have a good coach, too. Now, you don't have to have an amazing coach, just good enough, right? Eric Spoelstra, it's not like, when you think of the great coaches in the NBA, was he ever won, he's no Greg Popovich. So you just have to have a good enough coach. And where you mostly disagree, I said, yeah, you do need some veterans as well, but in 3 or 4 years, those players are going to be veterans themselves, and they'll also pick some up. And you said, no way would anyone go to that team.
Exactly.
Which is a complete chicken and the egg situation, because if you can't ever, if veteran players won't go to a team that's bad, how did any team that was ever bad get veteran players?
Because somebody really had to get offered a great contract and be overpaid to go there.
That's fine, but it happens all the time. You see it all the time. People bring in guys for one season. Oh, help me. Timberwolves.
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. You know, he's way past his prime. He's not there to perform. He's there to be a leader. You bring in a guy like that, you know, you get 2 of those guys. You get one more young superstar. I mean, obviously they're going to have a good draft pick this year. You know, they're going to be high up in the lottery. So you get your third guy in 3 years when he's had 3 years, and these other guys have had 4 and 5 years respectively. And you bring in 1 or 2 veteran guys, which they'll already have some. They already have a couple guys who are veterans. They're not great players. And, you know, maybe you get another coach. I don't see how you can't think that they could be a very good basketball team. We see this all the time. Golden State is it's the perfect example. Oklahoma City, see, you know, when they were in Seattle, terrible. Then they got Kevin Durant. Then they got Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And they had a couple other guys, and they got a new coach, and boom, they're the second best team in the West, and we're the best team in the West a couple of years. It's just a cycle. I mean, it's the same thing, you know, with Jacksonville in the NFL. They've been terrible, but now they've gotten some young players, and they're still bad right now, yeah, but they're getting better. You go through phases in all sports. It's just a cycle. Philadelphia is going to hit the next part of their cycle in 3 or 4 years.
In baseball, young talent that is brought up immediately is always surrounded by veteran leadership. That's always how it runs, and that's always how it will be. Rarely will young talent be around other young talent. And even if other young talent is around, those players already have about 3 or 4 or 5 years worth of experience. I'm thinking of the Cubs. I'm thinking of the Mets. I'm thinking of the Cardinals. I'm thinking of the Royals, the Giants. The list goes on and on and on. Right. In the NFL, that requires so much work and so much transformation, and yet you also have veteran guys around you. There are so many players on an NFL roster, 53 if I'm correct. Somebody on that team, any team and every team, has veteran experience, and you get veteran experience, yes, by playing these guys over and over again, especially the young players. The NBA is different. It is different from football. It's different from baseball. The NBA is for math and science people, as far as an equivalent goes. It is a very dynamic, specific. You have to be a very, very smart person with a high IQ to A, coach the NBA, and B, play in the NBA. You have to be very, very basketball savvy and basketball smart when it comes to playing in the NBA. There is one person on the Philadelphia 76ers roster who is above the age of 25. It is Carl Landry. He is 32, and he is not a star. There are 5 24-year-olds. There's one 23-year-old. There are 4 22-year-olds. There are 3 21-year-olds. There's a 20-year-old And then there is 19-year-old Jahlil Okafor, who has gotten in trouble twice in less than a week. One for beating the crap out of some idiot in Boston who started taunting the guy. And 2, he was just pulled over for driving 108 miles an hour. I can guarantee you...
Is that young stupid or stupid stupid?
That's a great question, actually. I really don't know. It might honestly be young stupid, because Jahlil Okafor, since he left for the NBA, has been nothing but Mr. That's not what I want, so I'm not going to accept it. But you don't have a choice. You have to. So he has acted like an idiot since he was at Philadelphia. Why has that not turned around and changed? There is no veteran presence in the organization.
Right. Sure. Right now.
So then tell me, what veteran player, like, for example, a Tim Duncan, a Kobe Bryant, a Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Andre Iguodala, Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, whoever, your NBA stars, who in the world wants to go to a team in Philadelphia that has an entire roster of young basketball players who haven't had a proper coach, who have no veteran leadership on their team, who haven't been truly taught how to play the professional game known as the NBA. They are still playing college basketball. To this day, loss number 17, college basketball. When will that change? And tell me why.
In 3 or 4 years.
How? You can't, these players cannot just keep, they're going to keep playing the way they're playing right now, Brent. Nothing is going to change that. The coach, the players around them, nothing is going to change it.
Will change
No. Time will not change that.
Sure it will.
You have to be taught. You have to be taught how to play in the NBA. Who's going to go there?
There are people who take bad jobs all the time.
A roster that has over almost a dozen players who are under the age of 25 who are not that good and who will get worse because they're not properly coached right now.
Who is the Oklahoma City coach?
Right now or before?
Yeah,
It's Billy Donovan right now.
Not Billy Donovan.
Scott Brooks.
Why would he want to go to take that job? But he took it, right?
Scott Brooks was already with the transition over from Seattle to Oklahoma City.
He had to take the job at some time. They were so bad for so long. I know he wasn't there back when they were good. He hadn't been there for like 30 years. Who is the guy that Golden State let go of? I can't think
Mark
of anyone.
Jackson.
Mark Jackson. I was thinking Mark May. They kind of look similar, but they're not the same.
Yeah,
person.
kind of. Yeah, they're not the same.
Mark Jackson. People do take these. It just happens. There are people who would.
Mark Jackson was a proven player and coach.
Hold on.
Not a coach. I'm sorry.
So then, So why would he want to go there? But he did.
Knew the game better.
So there will be another Mark Jackson. There will be another Scott Brooks. There will be someone willing to make their start. You don't start off. Your first job is typically your worst job. Am I right?
Right.
So there is someone who is yet to make their, maybe it's a college coach that wants to come up, a great college coach that wants to come, and they'll take it over. And they'll have the experience, they'll have the veteran leadership, they'll have the intelligence to do it. It just happens. Otherwise, after the first season of the NBA, any team that was bad, by your logic, would never be good. Because who would want to go there?
I'm not going... Okay, I think you're not understanding my logic. There are teams that have veteran players. Let me pull up an example.
How does one get to be a veteran player?
by experience with other veteran players, Brent. It's a cycle.
No,
Brent, it's a cycle. There has to be chemistry. There has to be leadership. There has to be a mixture of the young and veteran. You can't have something as lopsided as the Philadelphia 76ers.
Right now. But do you think... So you're saying this roster is going to be exactly the same 4 years from now?
Probably, yeah.
No. Come on.
Wait, as far as like how good they are or people on the roster?
The people on them.
No,
both.
it will be different.
Yeah.
It will be different.
So if they bring in 3 veterans, say they bring in 2 veterans next year, okay? How many games does that increase? How many more wins do they get that season?
Probably more than they'll ever get right now.
Right now.
But
and
that
next year they bring in
a great team.
And next year they bring in one more. And now you've got, and then you've got guys who aren't veterans now. When does one become a veteran? At what age? 27? Can we say 27?
26, 27. I don't know. I haven't really examined that.
3 years, everyone, how many 24-year-olds do they have? 7?
I think 6, 5.
So they'll have 6.
5.
So they'll have 5 veterans just from those guys, plus all the guys who are older than them now. Those would all be considered veterans.
Okay, but you're telling me that Isaiah Cannon, Robert Covington, Kendall Marshall, Phil Pressey, and Hollis Thompson.
I'm not saying they're going to be good players, but they'll be veterans. They can teach the guys below them.
No, that's not how it works, though, Brent, because they haven't been taught already how to be good in the NBA right now.
But
how are they going to learn if they're not being taught right now?
Because someone's going to teach them, or they'll just learn naturally.
There won't be, again, because nobody wants to go to Philadelphia.
But somebody will, even though they don't want to. I don't know who it's going to be, but did anyone know that Scott Brooks was going to take the job with Oklahoma City? No. Did anyone know Mark Jackson was going to take, in 3 years, Mark Jackson will take over Golden State and turn them into a powerhouse? No, you don't know before it just happens. I'm just saying, maybe it'll take more than 3 or 4 years, okay? I think it's 3 or 4 years before they start being good. Maybe it's 5 or 6 or even 7, but eventually it's just one person, one little part here, one little part here, one little part, and after X number of years, those parts add up. It's not an overnight thing. I'm not saying they're going to turn around and be great.
Yeah, I'm not saying
next
that either.
Season.
I'm saying what I'm saying is you have to have smart basketball players who have been in the NBA and who have coached in the NBA to teach these players.
Well, if the organization is not completely stupid, they will bring someone in, and like you said, they might have to overpay.
How are you going to market
money?
You can throw as much money as you want if you're. It's about who you're playing with.
So if they offered LeBron James $200 million, he wouldn't go there.
He might.
They can't do that. That's way beyond the salary cap.
You gotta understand that once LeBron gets there, it's his way or the highway.
So.
A lot of these young players right now, about 9/10 of this roster, maybe more, they are the best on this team. Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Nick Stauskas. The list goes on and on. They're young, inexperienced. They haven't matured, Brent.
Well, yeah, like you said, they're super young. They're the youngest team in the NBA.
When will they mature?
In 3 or 4 years.
And unless some multiple veteran players...
We just disagree there. I think that experience comes with time no matter who you are.
It will come, but that doesn't mean that you'll be good. You can say you've had experience in the NBA.
Then they will
doesn't
hire
mean you're
someone.
great.
They will trade for players. It will happen.
It doesn't mean that you're good if you have experience
how long
in the
until
NBA.
Philadelphia is good again? Then
I don't know. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They are so bad. They are so young. Mm-hmm. Their players are still so immature. There's no veteran leadership. Their head coach is not the guy.
This is exactly like the situation with Oklahoma City.
You need a proven head coach to come in and fix this job.
Was Scott Brooks proven? Was he proven?
I think so. I don't know. I'm going to find out more about Scott Brooks here.
All right,
because
we have to leave it here. We're going way over.
I'm telling you, it's not.
It will happen. I think it happens within 3 or 4 years.
Scott Brooks.
We'll just have to agree to disagree today, which is pretty typical for us.
Was a coach. Was an assistant for so long. He was assistant coach when Oklahoma City came in 2008.
Okay.
And they didn't turn into being that good until, 2010, 2011?
Yeah, whenever. Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
But Scott Brooks, Brent, had a long history of 1, being a player, and 2, being an assistant coach for so long.
Jason Kidd, okay? A guy like that, he's a bad coach
Thrown
right now.
right into the fire.
Yeah, he's a bad coach right now.
Because he didn't have anything behind him. He wasn't taught the dynamics of being a coach.
Right, but then when he learns, how good of a coach do you think he's going to be? He's got the experience as a player.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
if you aren't taught things and learning on your own, how do you know if you're actually doing a good job? Who is telling the head coach that he's doing a good job?
Well, you see it in your record.
Yeah. And so if you keep doing the same things and not changing, you're getting the same not so good results.
Yeah, but
how do you know
if you
what
keep getting
to do
the same
and know
not
what to
so
change?
if you keep getting the not so good results, you're gonna change. You're not stupid.
My point is you have to be taught.
Yeah.
You have to be taught how to be successful in the NBA. And it goes the same way with the NFL, the same way with Major League Baseball, and any other professional sport. In college sports, it's more about what can you do that hypes things up and really gets you college success.
When Phil Jackson is helping out the Knicks and they were still bad, why didn't that fix everything?
He was not in a situation where he wasn't learning.
What do you mean?
He was learning.
What more is there for him to learn?
Learning the game.
Phil Jackson?
Yes. Are you talking about Phil Jackson right now?
Yeah. Where is he right now? He's retired, isn't he?
No, he's the general manager of the Knicks.
Oh, I thought he stepped off of that position already.
No, of course not.
Well, still, yeah, they're terrible, but no one's going to doubt Phil Jackson has the experience as a player and definitely as the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, if all you need is guys who know what they're doing, the Knicks should be great.
Know how to play. Yeah, that's the Knicks, though. It's not the 76ers.
Yeah, but the Knicks aren't great. They're terrible.
They're actually not too bad this year.
Wow.
They're surprising everybody.
Well, compared to last year, you can't get much worse.
Yeah.
The only team worse than them last year was the 76ers.
The example I'm throwing up here, look at the Indiana Pacers. You remember how bad last year the Pacers were? Mm-hmm. How just ridiculous they were? How terrible they were? They went and signed a veteran player in Monte Ellis. Mm-hmm. That's basically it. Mm-hmm. They went and got Ellis. They kept other guys who were proven, who had experience, who know how the NBA works. They're there. George Hill. Paul George is back. Solomon Hill gaining experience as well. He's there too. I'm telling you, you cannot have what am I looking? Not immature basketball players who are fresh out of college and not surrounded by NBA knowledge and wisdom. There's none of that in Philadelphia right now, and there never will be unless some unbelievably crazy thing happens where they can pick up multiple veteran players and somehow pull in a head coach that has a proven background of success.
Okay.
That is what is going to turn Philadelphia around, and I cannot see that happening unless they really go all out to the point of almost bankruptcy to bring in at least 2 veteran guys who can teach
Monte
these
Ellis
young kids.
Is not like a superstar player. If you think he's
a great player, he's not a superstar.
He's good. Yeah. But it's not like they broke the bank bringing in Monte
No,
Ellis.
they didn't. They just added one person to add in another set of experience and, I guess, talent, if you will.
Experience is cheap in the NBA. The older you are, the cheaper you get.
Depends on how good you are, though. Again,
how much
you can have experience, but if it's bad experience, how
much is someone going to pay Kobe Bryant this season?
Oh, hopefully not a lot. He needs to get out.
How much is someone going to pay Tim Duncan this season? Not a lot, right? More than Kobe,
More than
maybe.
Kobe Bryant.
More than Kobe.
Because
Kobe stinks to high heaven right now.
Well, Tim Duncan's a little bit more mature than Kobe Bryant and actually, has a little bit more humble approach to the game of basketball.
Yeah.
And how he runs his life, too.
Sure, okay. Well, that's beside the point. But you're telling me, if the experience is not expensive, they can get the experience. The coach, I think, is the biggest factor.
You
because
have to have good experience, though, Brent.
But it's not hard to get experience. It's not. It's really
good experience?
Not. Yes, it's really
It's
not.
a little bit more difficult than what you're giving it.
Maybe so. I'm sure the right answer is somewhere between our arguments, but, it's certainly not like they have to bankrupt themselves to get Monte Ellis to turn things around.
I didn't say... No, they already had the experience there. They added Monte Ellis to add more to what was already at Indiana.
And in 3 or 4 years, it will be a similar situation.
I can't...
You're thinking right now. That's your problem. Anyway, let's move on. We've been on this for like a half hour.
I'm sorry. I can't see it. I can't. I love you, Brent, but I can't see it.
Then, you're short-sighted.
No, okay. I'm not short-sighted. We just see two different parts of the picture, I guess. Fair, let's go with that.
All right.
You're listening to The Route, a sports talk podcast. On Facebook.com/TheRoute2 and on Twitter at @the_Route2.
So, pretty much what we got left here in the show is our predictions, and we're not going to do all of them. Great podcast, by the way. This was a good one.
Yeah, we had some good debates the past few weeks.
Oh, yeah. We did not...
right every time.
I guess we've got a topic for a future show for, I guess, either under review or out of play, and that is how an opposing coach can fire up a home crowd. I go back to, and
Iowa,
that I'm talking about, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kirk Ferentz just losing his mind like Bo Pelini 2 years ago, exactly, in the Nebraska-Iowa game, and how that fired up Iowa, and well, actually it just more demoralized Nebraska. But anyways, to our predictions, we're going to do 4 college football games and 1 NFL game. We also have quite a few college basketball and NBA games. We will start with the 1 NFL game for next Sunday, believe it or not. So bad, but Seahawks and Vikings. This is the only good game.
Gosh.
Unless you wanted to do Colts-Steelers, but...
No, that's a weak.
Seahawks-Vikings.
That's tough, though, to pick. I think they're pretty much in the exact same spot this year. Not as well, I think the Steelers are a little bit better than people might have expected. Seahawks not nearly as good as people expected. Man. Oh, I'm sorry, Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings, way better than people expected. Seahawks not nearly as good as expected. Oh, gosh, that's a tough one. The Vikings seem to choke when it matters most. I don't think they're there yet. They're like Cincinnati the previous years.
Except today, Minnesota did beat Atlanta on the road.
Yeah, but that's Atlanta. So, that's not.
Atlanta's pretty good too.
Well, I know they're good, but they're not as good as they're not as experienced as Seattle. They're not as good as Seattle. I'm gonna go Seattle, but I think it's close. And not this year. Next year probably a different story.
Right,
but not this year.
Fair enough. 2 college football championship games this upcoming weekend, and we're going to start with all these are good ones except for the Pac-12 championship. That's a joke. Pac-12 is a joke this year.
Oh, yeah.
Temple taking on Houston in the AAC championship.
Houston. I think their offense is good, man. Houston is, say what you want about them. They're never going to be, not never, but, they have rarely, if ever, been the best team in college football. But their offense, throughout the years, throughout decades, has remained very good. So I'm going to go Houston.
I've got Houston, too. Watch out for Temple's defense, though. Temple's defense is very good.
That'd be a good game.
Oh, yeah. North Carolina and Clemson in the ACC championship game.
This is it, man. I think this is probably the best one.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, who else? Yeah. Clemson, your heart says North Carolina, but your mind says Clemson.
Yeah.
I say
agree.
Clemson. I think it'll be competitive, but Clemson.
Yeah, I'm going with Clemson as well. to the Big Ten Championship. We finally get to find out how good Iowa really is.
Yeah.
Let's put Iowa up against a great team like an Ohio State, like a Michigan State, like an Alabama, like an actual top 10 team in college football. Michigan State is one of those teams. We're gonna find out how good the Hawkeyes really are this upcoming weekend in Indianapolis. Michigan State, Iowa Big Ten Championship. I'm going with the Spartans because I do not think that Iowa is as good as their record, just like Florida State last year.
Well, Iowa beat Nebraska, who beat Michigan State, so shouldn't they be betting? Heck
Give
no.
me a break.
No, I was lucky that Ohio State blew it, because if they had to play Ohio State, they would get beat so bad.
It would be terrible.
I mean, that's like Ohio State probably hang 50 on them. I think Michigan State keeps it in the 30s, but I think they win probably by 2 possessions.
Yeah, I agree.
10 points at least.
I think that Michigan State will get into the 40s probably. Michigan State is they're hot right now.
No, let's not pretend like Iowa's a piece of garbage.
No, they're not.
Their defense is solid.
Like 42.
I'd
say like 42 for Michigan State.
I'm thinking
42, 21, 24 for Iowa.
I'm thinking like 34, 37. So we're not too far off.
That's actually.
I'll give Iowa a little bit of cred.
Yeah,
but no.
Again, I go back to the argument: who has Iowa played other than Northwestern? And the answer is pretty much nobody except for Wisconsin, if you want to be nice.
Yeah, right.
Finally, another game in which we get to see how really good the Florida Gators are as they take on Alabama.
Gator chomp.
In the SEC championship game. Bama in a blowout. Brent Bonfleur says Florida. Brent Bonfleur says Florida
shocked the world.
Alabama in a blowout because Alabama's defense will embarrass. If you thought Florida State's defense embarrassed Florida, wait till Alabama gets a hold of them.
Florida pulls the upset man. If Auburn can hang with them, so can Florida. Nah. Put me down for Florida, but my guess is Alabama actually wins.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But you want Florida.
Yeah, put me down for Florida. Yeah. So when I'm right, then you can look like a silly.
You'll just look
goober.
You'll look like a Nebraska fan. Oh, our team is great. We're so good. You went to overtime against Florida Atlantic and won by a touchdown.
How many?
And then you scored 2 points against Florida.
How many wins do the Huskers have?
There were too many.
How many do they have? 5, right?
Too many.
And how many does Florida have? 10.
Yeah.
Is that what 5 times?
In a very weak
5 times
SEC
2, twice as many
very
wins.
Weak SEC
in a weak Heroes division.
That's Big Ten East, Brent. We don't do that Heroes and
whatever
and highlights. Heroes and Legends, Legends and Leaders division.
Okay, the East then. No, it's not the East. It's the
Big
West.
Ten could have ever
We're in the
done.
Big Ten West. What are you smoking?
I wish the ACC would switch and stop doing Atlantic and Coastal and just start doing North and South.
Yeah,
please just do North and South.
Who cares what they're called?
Well, obviously the Big Ten did. Their stuff was atrocious. Legends and Leaders. Whatever.
Was it? I thought it was Heroes and Legends.
No, Legends and Leaders.
Yeah, that's pretty goofy.
It was. So was Atlantic and Coastal. That's a podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, be sure to check out our outlets for this podcast. Our website, theround2.wordpress.com, facebook.com/theround2, and of course at @the_round2 on Twitter. For Brent, I'm Ryan. We'll see you next week. Great show today. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, yeah.